A very good afternoon, very good morning, good evening to Estonians across the world. I'm here at the Rocket 69 studio in Tallinn. The weather here is beautiful winter weather, and I hope that you have great weather as well. We are about to start the 6th virtual forum organized by the Estonian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and it's meant for Estonians worldwide. You can watch it on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Facebook page, YouTube, Estonian National Broadcasting Company. But the easiest way is to attend through the Global Estonian homepage link or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs homepage. And we've got simultaneous interpretation into English and Russian. Our two main subjects today are, first of all, digital services available to Estonians worldwide. You can just communicate from your sofa at home. We are going to spell it out for you, what and how you can use our digital connections. The second main subject is Tartu. Tartu, the European Capital of Culture 2024. We've got loads of fascinating events, not just in Tartu, but across all of southern Estonia. We've lined up some fascinating speakers for you, and we are going to give you great tips as well if you plan to come here for your summer holiday. And of course, we once again have the prize wheel. A prize wheel for plane tickets for two to Estonia. 2 nights at the Olympia Hotel in Tallinn. We're going to spin the wheel on the 15th of December. So those of you who are watching now, I'm telling you that you can also watch it again later. You can attend in the prize draw until 14th of December. To do so, you need to go in the worksup.com page. You can find it in the Global Estonian or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs homepage. And in order to participate in the prize wheel, just click on the link and enter your data. Now, today's agenda. First of all, we are going to have opening remarks from Margus Tsahkna, Foreign Minister. Secondly, we are going to have a look at digital services from users abroad. And Erika Piirmets is going to tell us about digital transformation. She's working for Estonia. Erika is going to come next after the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and after Erika we're going to hear from Heilika and Ülo Pikhof, who are currently living in the US. After that, we are going to have a very interesting talk with Fred Buss, who's going to tell you how you can look into your family history digitally. Next speakers, Erni Kask and Annela Laaneots, are going to tell you about the Tartu 2024 program. Then there's going to be Jalmar Vabarna, singer and musician. We are also going to talk to Karel Bolt, living in Los Angeles. He's going to tell you about his book, Literally Estonian. And then we're going to connect to lovely wintry Võru County and talk to Mari Kalkun, who's going to talk about the festival Aigu Om. We'll also speak to Helen Tootsi, author of My Los Angeles. She's been living in the LA for 14 years. She's also going to give you some tips about Tartu 2020 and 24. And our last speaker is Anna Hintz, director of the film Smoke Sauna Sisterhood. We've also lined up some musicians for you. A Duo Ruut, a folk music duo. They are here at our studio. But now I'm delighted to give the floor to Margus Tsahkna, Foreign Minister of Estonia. Good afternoon, friends, Estonians across the world. I'm delighted really to greet you here. Each and every one of you is extremely important to us because every Estonian, no matter in which country, is also an ambassador for Estonia. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has also recognized this at the Citizens' Day. This year, for example, we thanked 40 citizen diplomats with letters of appreciation. Our official diplomatic network is not really enough. We are a small nation, and every one of us has to be an ambassador for our country all across the world. I'm delighted today that another success story that presents our very deep sauna culture and all those stories that are told in sauna. Well, the director of the film Smoke Sauna Sisterhood is also going to talk to you today. And isn't it wonderful that this film has reached so many people? Thank you, Anna, very, very much. Thanks to your team for work already done, but I'm sure we'll hear more from Anna. Another thing that I'd like to mention, once upon a time in the 1990s, we were thinking, how could we, smallish and poorish country, reach out to people across the world? Everyone thinks that we are quite clever. Well, we are, because the most recent OECD PISA test results, that's 15-year-olds in math, reading and science, Estonia ranked very well. So in the beginning of the 1990s, we came up with e-services. That doesn't mean that we don't communicate face-to-face at all, but e-services mean that we can link up to Estonia wherever we are. And here in Estonia, internet is already seen as a human right, and I hope that the rest of the world is going to follow suit. We're going to hear about e-services today. It's so comfortable. You can do your private business, your family business, link up to Estonia through our e-services. That's our unique opportunity. We'd actually like to convert all the services available into more personalized services. And I really recommend that you look into these e-services today. The world situation is not very good at the moment. We've been lucky. We are independent, but we have a major concern with Ukraine. The winter is probably going to be very cold, and it's really, really important that we don't forget that Ukrainians are fighting for their freedom, but they are also fighting for our freedom, and they need all the support that we can hand them, political, economic, but also mental support from us Estonians, because unfortunately we know from our history what it means to be occupied, what it means when your people are deported to Siberia and what it means when there's no more freedom. So, once again, thank you very, very much for what you are doing, what we are doing together. Merry Christmas to everyone. Merry as is possible in today's world. And let's keep calm and happy and not quarrel with each other because we can't afford it. Enjoy the day.
Many thanks to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Tsahkna, for these words. And now let's continue with the Estonian e-services. We have Erika Piirmets here from the e-Estonia Briefing Center. Hello. Hello, it's a pleasure to be here. The Estonian e-governance and e-government, we have many stories of that, and we are world famous for it. We've seen many positive articles written about it, and for us who live here, it's an everyday thing. It's a very practical thing for us, but when we are declaring our taxes, for example, filling out the tax returns, it's like a championship of who can do it faster, how many seconds or minutes you spent on that, and you talk about it on social media, etc. But we also know that people who live abroad, they might not be aware of some of very practical tips, some of the services that are available. So let's look into this, and let's start with what could an Estonian abroad start from when they receive their first ID card? Well, I couldn't agree more, because here in Estonia we are so used to it. It is a part of our everyday life. It's a way of organizing our daily business. And quite close to our venue at the briefing center, we have more than 6,000 people visiting every year, seeing what we do, how we do it, because it's quite unique. And what's most important is that these services actually work. So I really encourage Estonians abroad to use the very unique e-government, the digital services, because it makes our lives so much easier, convenient, and as the Minister of Foreign Affairs says, that it gives us more time to spend on what is really important, like family, traveling, free time, friends, etc. So we don't want red tape. And what's also curious in terms of bureaucracy, Estonia offers almost all services in a digital format except for divorce. But don't worry, it will be digitalized as of next year. So soon we can say that Estonia is 100% digital government or country. So why not use these services? From my personal experience, I can say that, I come from the e-Estonian generation. I mean, I've never had to fill out a tax return on paper. I don't know. I couldn't imagine what it looks like. So one thing I get on paper from the government is the envelope with my PIN codes. And if you get it, don't throw it away. It's a very important paper. It's the most important paper your government could send you, together with your passport and your ID card. So have a look what's inside, but be very IT conscious and don't show it to anyone else, because there are PIN codes for your digital ID. And if necessary, you can change the PIN codes, but don't change it to 4 zeros or 1, 2, 3, 4. So the ID card, the passport that you receive, and the envelope with your PIN codes, it's your key to all the digital services. Now I will show you several ways of how you can log in and use the services. But what's important is that even if there are various ways of accessing these services, the key is the one and only, the digital ID that you get from the government. And the first point of contact where you could start using all these digital services is the website eesti.ee. You don't have to Google these services individually. You don't have to look for them. It's the government's task to put all these services in this portal, at eesti.ee. And it can happen that you miss some important information if you don't look at the notifications that the government sends you here. We have a large variety of card readers at a very good price, not expensive. So I have one here. I will connect it to my computer, and now I try to log in the self-service. Once you land on this page, there are many options to use. So ID card is the first one. I will use this because I have my ID card at hand. Mobile ID is something that you can use if you have an Estonian phone number, so let's leave that out. And Smart ID is another application-based way to log in. So now let's continue with my ID card. This is a PIN 1 code that you use and need here. You enter it and you are in. The first thing you see is the dashboard. So this is the key information about you from the registry. The documents you have and a mailbox. Each citizen of Estonia has a government email. It's quite a unique service, and it's quite important to keep an eye on these notifications. As you can see here, I've received a number of emails, and under options you can actually forward these emails to your everyday mailbox. And I really recommend you to use it and to forward these emails to your regular mailbox, because you might not log in here every day, so that you wouldn't miss out on any information. And what is this information about? First, let's say your passport or ID card is about to expire, you get a notification, things like that. So you can forward your emails here. You just have to enter the regular mailbox or email that you use. It's really easy. Oh, thanks a lot. So in every 5 years, you have to get a new ID card and a new passport in every 10 years. Can you somehow do it in a more convenient way? Yes, this is an important aspect as well. And as the minister says, what would this personalized government or e-Estonia 2.0, what would it mean? It means that anyone could save money, save time, because the government is there for everybody 24/7, not from 9 to 5 when the official is at work. The government is always there for you. That's what the e-Estonia 2.0 means. And as said, I'm very keen user of digital services, and this year I filled out my tax return on a beach in Sri Lanka. I participated in the elections, also from a beach, but it was in Estonia and it was freezing cold. So it doesn't matter where you are or what time it is, you can use the services. But indeed, the Police and Border Guard Board is the authority that helps you to find all the documents you need. At the eesti.ee you were able to see the expiry dates of your passport and ID card, but as said, you will get a notification if you forward these emails to your regular mailbox. And here you can apply for a new ID card or a passport. And again, you have to log in, you have to use this one key digital identity. So this is the one and only that you need in order to access all these services. So again, I will log in. But as promised, I will show you the Smart ID application as well. You just have to download it. If you've used the online banking platform or Bolt app, it's just as simple. So for the ways of logging in, choose Smart ID, and then you have to enter your personal ID code. It's never an email or your name. And here we have a two-step authentication. This is quite regular You do it for most of the, or if not all, the applications that you use. I really do hope you have at least 2 steps of verification. And then you have to enter the PIN 1. PIN 1 is always your key, and the PIN 2 is already the digital, legally binding signature. Obviously, I won't show you my PIN, but I'm in already. So here you can see whether your documents are valid or expired. And now you can choose what you want to apply for. I've never applied for a new ID document digitally. I just hadn't felt the need, because I live in Tallinn and the police and border guard office is very close to my home. So I work with the digital services on a daily basis, but I've never logged in here, so it's a discovery for me as much as it is for you. So let's apply for a new passport. If you have children who are underage, then you can do it on behalf of them as well. So let's have a look. What can I see here? This is my details. Now I have to upload a new photo. If you don't know how to do it, and actually you can do it yourself at home, but there's a very nice guideline about how to take the photo, what size, what should be on the background or what shouldn't be on the background. And what's also here is the signature and your fingerprints. The fingerprints are valid for 6 years. If these are expired, then you really have to go to the Estonian representation abroad and give new fingerprints. So the contact details like phone number, email, etc., whether it's abroad or not. Then information about myself. And these are all voluntary. You don't have to enter them. And now, reason for applying for a new document. Let's say they are expired. And now I have a bit more choice, but on the other hand, it's very simple. The government has made your life even easier because there are a variety of places to pick up your documents. And this is a brand new service. Only a few days ago, it happened that the government offers a new way of receiving the document. It means that you can authorize someone else to go and pick up your document on behalf of yourself. So it gives you, again, more flexibility, more freedom. And you can just tick this box, and then you have to enter the contact details and the name of the person that would go and pick up your document. And also you can use DHL courier to get an Estonian passport. So what would be more convenient than a delivery to your doorstep? And the distance here is, and the cost is based on your actual location, because it is a postal service after all. But in many cases, it could be cheaper than a trip to the Estonian representation abroad. So, information about your address, state, etc. But as my ID documents are pretty recent, I will not apply for a new one. So it's very easy to use. It seems to me that it's very intuitive. And this is one of the principles of personalized government as well. You don't have to know how the government works. The government will have to make it easy for you. You just have to choose from the drop-down menu. And the government's task is to make sure that you can go through the journey. So this is the logic behind that. You don't have to know these platforms, these environments. They have to be intuitive so that if you log in, then you are guided through the service. Can you also say a few words about the mobile ID? Can an Estonian abroad use this one as well? Well, it's not as convenient, I might say. It's the most beneficial for Estonians who have an Estonian phone number, because your phone operator would give you the mobile ID, but it means that there's a physical component to it. You have to have an Estonian phone number and the local phone operator. But I believe that Smart ID is very convenient. You can download it wherever you are and set it up very easily. But one more thing, if your physical ID card is about to expire and you think that, okay, I have the self-service, but I have no time to apply for a new ID card, then I recommend you to download the Smart ID, because this is valid for 3 extra years. Even if your ID card is expired, then the digital identification for you is not expired yet. So your digital identity is still there. The only thing is that you might not have an access if all your documents are expired: passport, ID card and Smart ID as well. However, as said, the Smart ID it comes to rescue because it's valid for a longer time. Thank you, but what would you tell to those who worry about how their data is used? Well, this is one of the most popular questions, I'd say, that foreigners ask us. Can we trust the government, or why do Estonians rely so much on the government and trust the government so much? Well, we do. And our government has been set up on the principles of democracy. The digital services are run in an ethical way, and we really try to make an effort to provide reliable service. But it's also important that it's transparent. The Prime Minister always highlights that. For example, at the Tallinn Digital Summit this year, it was also emphasized that transparency is the strongest weapon we have. We shouldn't have any secrets, and what's most important is that your personal data belongs to you. You are the owner, and this is why the government has an obligation to demonstrate how your data is used. So if you go to eesti.ee, and I will show you where you can see what kind of data the government uses about you, data that concerns you. So go to the data tracker, because here you can see how the information in various registries in Estonia has been used by public organizations or companies. So you can pick a registry here and you can make an inquiry about yourself. And then you see, this is the population registry, for example. So what we have here, all the things I did online a couple of minutes ago, you can already see here. It's based on the blockchain technology, KYC technology. It shows you everything. No one is there picking which entries will be displayed and which not. The blockchain technology makes sure that everything is displayed. So, as just recently, I opened a page where I saw my documents. You can already see it here as well, and it's quite general. You might not know at the first glance what's behind that, because at the briefing center I show these same things over and over again, and I always see this here displayed. And there's a very good example. Let's see, Ridango. Every now and then they make a check, because I buy bus tickets using Ridango platform, and the content here tells just bilet.ee. And then I might wonder why. Why do they want to use my data? Then remember that you can always turn to the one who made a query about your data and ask for additional information. because the data tracker is like a logbook of how your data has been used. And it's also an element to make sure that all the officials know that people can always check how their data is used. Okay, but let's say someone is struggling with digital services and their ID card, etc. Where should they turn to? We have thought about this as well. ID.ee is a platform that you can use to get some assistance if you need to download the certificates or the application itself, if you want to update your certificates. And if something goes wrong and eesti.ee cannot help you, then you can turn to id.ee. There's also a news section here because always new things coming, new things happening, and you can keep an eye on the news. But the section what to do if is the place to start. Because what we see is that the problems tend to be similar in character. So if you struggle, then first try and check this id.ee and this particular section, because technology sometimes might fail you after all a little bit. So just bear in mind that you are not alone with your concern. But I also ask you to be smart, to be IT conscious, because when using these digital services, the government has thought about the fact that we need citizens who know what to do, how to do it in various environments, and how to protect themselves against cyber threats. So we have a website, Be IT Cautious. And here you can raise awareness, you can learn things you didn't know. If you go under this section, so this says private person, and you can test, you can test your knowledge. And there's a mini course also on how to be IT cautious. And also for parents, your children are born to the digital world, so all the threats are there and you have to be aware. We have a section here for parents, and this is especially for making sure that you can take care of your child online, that you can talk to your children about cyber threats and similar things, so that they would be protected as well. So take a little bit of time. All these digital services save you a lot of time, and this time you can use, instead of doing something on paper, you can use this time to educate yourself, to become smarter in using these services. And yet again, I come back to where I started. Your PIN codes, your electronic ID is your only key to the digital sphere. So protect them, don't share them with anyone, don't use a PIN code that is too easy to guess, and please make sure that your ID card, your passport are always up to date, not expired, because this makes sure that you can enter this very unique digital government that doesn't exist anywhere else. The digital government is for us. Let's use it. Many thanks, Erika, for these very practical pointers and tips. And now let's go to the United States and talk to Helika Pikhof and Ülo Pikhof, movie directors.
Hello, Helika. Hello, Ülo. Hello. How are you doing? Where exactly are you? We are in Rhode Island. We are at the moment in Providence, Rhode Island, in the US. That's fascinating. We've just finished a talk on how digital communication makes things easier. You can communicate from anywhere, whether you are in Estonia or abroad. You moved recently to the US. Could you please share your experience, which services you've used, and how the digital ID has helped you? Perhaps two things at first. One is digital life in Estonia. Yes, we moved here, but we've still got certain obligations towards Estonia, towards the Estonian Customs and Tax Board. I've also got my own business in Estonia. Keeping it in business means that I have to do bank transactions, etc. All of that can be handled at a distance. I can use the remote services. So that's wonderful. Personally, I use both the mobile ID and I also use my ID card. I've actually not put all my eggs in the same basket. So I'm using both in order to make sure that if I lose one, that I don't end up having nothing to communicate with. Actually, the e-services here in the States are quite good as well, although it's mostly private businesses, bigger private businesses that have developed e-services to quite a good standards. But state services, government services in the US are still on paper, whereas in Estonia it's the state that's got the digital e-services. So that's the biggest difference. Helika, did you want to add anything? Well, yes, we are filmmakers. We came here for a year, but we've still got to communicate with the Estonian Cultural Endowment and various other bodies. We need to file applications and reports. So basically nothing has changed, even though we are thousands of kilometers away. Are you going to stay there for longer? Not that long. It's just an academic study. Ulo got a scholarship. Perhaps he can tell you about it. Yes, indeed. That's the reason I got the Fulbright scholarship, and I came to Rhode Island School of Design to be a guest professor here. It's one of the leading arts universities in the US, and we've already bought our return tickets for June, so we plan to come back. But the communication with the local community and the school has been going really, really well, and perhaps we are going to keep some sort of a relationship with them in the future. And we actually discussed also offering some e-courses, video lectures in the future. We've also got 3 children with us. We mentioned the differences between Estonia and the US a bit already. Now, sending our children to kindergarten or school here meant filing loads and loads of papers. I hadn't done it for years. It also meant that you actually have to go somewhere with your papers and stand in a queue, which I can't remember when I last did that. And getting things done took forever, so children could only start school second half of September. But once we got all that sorted out, well, they've got e-school here as well. But something that, for example, that Estonia hasn't had, we just skipped that phase, paying with checks. We never had them in Estonia. We jumped to the next stage. So I had to get some guidance from the kindergarten teacher. Different communities in the states next to us, well, the Estonian communities, we went to New York City, we had a small workshop in Boston. It's wonderful to see that Estonian is being taught very consistently, very bravely, and it's wonderful to see that the Estonian communities are very lively, and it was impressive, really, how many young people there were at the Estonian house in New York City. Thank you very much. That was lovely to hear. Enjoy your stay in the US. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and see you back in Estonia. Yes, thank you very much. Goodbye. Now I'm delighted to say hello here at our studio to Fred Buss, who is director of the Estonian Biographical Center. We are going to talk about the digital means that you can use to look into your family history. Hello, Fred. Hello. Could you tell us, please, how we can look into our family history digitally and how far back we can go? Yes, well, it's not really latest news, but when I started with family history a few decades ago, I had to go to the archive physically from Tallinn to Tartu. Now everything is digitalized. Estonia was one of the first countries in the world who did it 18 years ago. Most of the resources necessary to look into your family history was put up in the homepage of the National Archives. And there's something new added every day, something new that you can use to study your family history. That's both from National Archives and also from various museums. To begin with, perhaps I could show you the page isik.ee. It's my own company that offers study services, but there's also instruction on how to do these things yourself. There's also a 20-minute video that you can watch on YouTube, and it's also got brief descriptions of all the main resources. So I suggest that you read all of this. There are the church books, there are registers of parishioners, and other things. But the main place to go to is the National Archives. Let me show you how to get there if you didn't have a clue about how to do this. You Google Rahvusarhiiv, the word in Estonian, and this here is self-service. It's called the Virtual Study Hall. And with a abbreviation VAU, it's got all the main resources here. They've got photos of various data, but there is also databases that have indexed data. And then there are also various crowdsourcing projects here. People have indexed, for example, archive sources. Saga is the main place for digitalized data. When you open the Saga page, you don't need to log in for this, for general information. However, if you want to see photos of the sources, you need to log in. All you need to do is make a username for yourself, or you can also log in with your mobile ID, smart ID, or the ID card. Now, the Saga homepage, there are categories of data sources here. Church books are the most important and the earliest sources. They've been categorized further here according to how they were written or kept in the old days, which is perhaps not the most convenient way for somebody who wants to look into family history. But, for example, if your ancestors were Lutherans, 10 to 15% of the population in southern Estonia and in Saaremaa Island were Orthodox. So they won't turn up, of course, in Lutheran church books. But basically, you don't need to know in advance where to look for something. You can... let me use another link. For example, this is the register of parishioners of Lutheran congregations. All you need is just a surname. The next field is counties. That's the old counties. And there's a description here as well. In the old days, names changed very often. Names, too, were written differently. For example, Lepik, L-E-P-P-I-K. Sometimes it was written with 2 P's, sometimes with just 1 P. But let's have a look at what the well-known Estonian writer Jaan Kross has got here. Let's write Kross, his surname. We know that he was born in Tallinn. Since many people have lived in Tallinn, this one has got the first name names as well. In smaller municipalities, there's just the surnames because there's less people there. Jaan Kross. His father was also Jaan. So we see which book it is, and the photo is in the last column. And remember that you have to be logged in to see the photos. And here you go. You get the photo of the entry here. It's the register of parishioners of St. John's Church in Tallinn. And there you go. Jaan Kross, a child born 19th of February 1920, the date of baptizing 20th of June. And he's here with his father and mother, who came here from outside Tallinn, and it's got the German place names. You can use a wonderful place for that. Dictionary of Estonian place names. Palfer, for example, Jan Krossi's father was born there, and there you go. You enter Palfer, and it's Palvere, Kose municipality. So you can go further than with the church books of that municipality. And basically, the church books determine how far into history you can go. Basically, it's from the beginning of the 18th century. They go back 300 or 350 years. In some places, there's less church books left. The early ones have burned in wars, etc. That's fascinating. Can you tell me how many people have used this service? Well, that's a question that probably the National Archives will know the answer to, or perhaps there's a page of statistics here. Perhaps it's not that important. But at the moment, there are 124 people using this service as we speak. Well, I think many people who are watching us perhaps already are in there, and perhaps many of them would write a book about their family history. Yes, there's more and more family history books, but it's really, really important to collect memories as well. So use your telephone to record the memories of your relatives and parents. Thank you very, very much, Fred Bush. That was fascinating. So we recommend that everyone goes into family history, but we are now going to hear the duo Ruut, Katariina Kivi and Anna-Liset Rebane. They are going to play for us now. Thanks very much, Duo Ruut, for that wonderful song. Can I ask Katariina Kivi and Anneliset Rebane here on stage, please? Hello. As I understand, your band started 6 years ago. What was your inspiration to start the band and to perform this music? Well, I'd say that at first we were inspired by music. That was our common denominator. And we actually ended up in traditional music because we wanted to play in the traditional music festival in Mooste, which is dedicated to arrangements of traditional music. And that's when we took the zither and tried to approach it creatively. You have one full CD and a short one. You've toured quite a lot around the world. Where have you been to, and what feedback have you received? Well, yes, music has taken us quite far in this world. We first toured to France, to the Estonian embassy there. Then we've been to Japan, Uzbekistan, and we've been to many European countries. And I'm sure we are going to have more ticks in the tick box. And we've had really excellent feedback. We sing in Estonian, and you might think that it sounds weird, but it's been contrary. People have said that it's like fairy language, Estonian, so it's been no obstacle whatsoever. I understand that Estonian culture sits very well with Japanese. What were the expressions on your Japanese audience like? Yes, actually, now that you mention it, it felt like home performing in Japan. The atmosphere is very different for example, in Spain, because the temperament is different there. But when we played in Japan, it was just like home. Strange but true. What are your plans for the future? Well, we've got many, but the biggest perhaps that we have next year is publishing our new album. And we want to perform a lot, really. Thank you very much, Katrin and Anneliset. We are going to hear another piece from you. All right, but now we are going to see and hear Indrek Kaing, who takes a wintry dip. What do you mean, son? What do you mean, palm trees? Come over and take a dip in the Baltic Sea and win a ticket to Estonia. I'd like to take another opportunity to those of you who are watching us. We are going to have a prize wheel for plane tickets to Estonia. So please participate. You have to click on the link and you could win plane tickets to Estonia and 2 nights at the Olympia Hotel, and we are going to spin the wheel on 15th of December. But now, musician, songwriter, Trad Attack and Setod and Curly Strings band's member, Jalmar Vabarna. You're also the culture ambassador for Tartu, European Capital of Culture 2024. What's important for you next year. Hello. First of all, I really hope that you are going to have another prize wheel for everyone, for between all the speakers, 2 plane tickets out from Estonia. But really, hello. I've perhaps met some of you at different events. 2024, I think, is going to be a year to remember. There's going to be more culture here in Estonia next year than ever before. For me as a musician, it's great news. I'm going to have a very busy summer. To me, as a concert promoter, perhaps some worries. Will there be enough people for all those events? But I'm sure that things are going to be fine because all the Estonians from across the world are going to come to Estonia. I have a new festival which is called Treski. It's part of the Tartu 2024 program. And last year we had a conference as well. Yes. But first of all, Tartu 2024. We are going to hear from Erni Kask and Annela Laaneots. Yes, hello. I'm Erni Kask. I'm head of international relations of Tartu European Capital of Culture 2024. Hello, I'm Annela Laaneots. I'm in charge of Southern Estonian cooperation for Tartu 2024. What we have here next year is the biggest ever cooperation because 20 municipalities, that's 1/4 of Estonia, Võru County, Põlva County, Tartu County, Valga County, Viljandi City, are going to cooperate under the flagship of Tartu Capital of Culture. Yes, 5 years, 350 projects, more than 1,000 events. That's Tartu 2024 in figures for you. Annela, how have we been doing so far? What would you like to mention? Perhaps I could start myself. If you come to Tartu now that we've got Winter Wonderland here in Estonia, for example, when you come around 26th of January, when we are going to have the opening ceremony, I would advise winter tracks. We are going to take you around southern Estonia. Winter tracks. We are going to celebrate 100 years from the birth of Surrealism next year as well. And we've got really cool events lined up for you. Well, I've got the same privilege as you do. We joined the cultural capital team before we actually won the title, which is why we've been able to shape the ultimate program and image. And thanks to that, I can say that each and every Southern Estonia municipality has fascinating events under the flagship of Tartu 2024. For example, the festival in Kanepi. Now, Kanepi is a village in southern Estonia, but it also means cannabis. So there's going to be a cannabis festival. An Estonian-Latvian love story. There's a joint performance of the theatres of Valmiera in Latvia and Ugala in Viljandi. We've got a architecture residency in Valga. It's called The Crow, and artists are going to create another piece every month. Hello, Jalmar. At your place, Treski, there's going to be a TEDx spirit. I know that you, Annela, have a special relationship to the Seto region. Yes, indeed. I've been the deputy of the mythical Seto king of Pekko. If you want to see or hear what it means, I've actually written a book, My Seto Land. But it's not just the Seto region that I love. I love all the municipalities in Southern Estonia, and they've all got great things lined up for you. But what's survival skills? Survival skills, that's a creative concept of Tartu 2024. It's all those skills and knowledge that we've already got or that we need to learn in order to make life better here in Estonia and in the rest of the world. The pandemic, the Russian aggression in Ukraine have given a completely new meaning to the phrase survival skills, but we try to stress the positive meaning of survival skills. Yes, indeed, many new shades of meanings to these words. But what are your 3 recommendations to people coming down here? I'd opt for 3 very different projects. First of all, the one aimed to the widest ever target groups. New lovers and grandmothers and grandchildren could attend. It's called Kissing Tartu. It starts at the sculpture of kissing students in Tartu Town Hall Square. We're going to have a mass kissing event mid-May. You too, right? Yes, me too. We are going to kiss there at the most romantic time of the year. In addition to that, there's also going to be a concert of Eurovision songs. 2024 will mark 30 years since Estonia's first participation at Eurovision. Now, my recommendation number 2 would go to perhaps the younger generation, those who are fond of extreme sports. Simple Session is an international extreme sports event that actually was born in Tartu, and it's coming back to its roots in August next year. Dazzling tricks. That's what you're going to see. And the third is the most special for me. It's called Hidden Worlds Expanding. It's going to open up the worlds or the world of those artists who have intellectual disabilities and who get a chance to air their art. Those are my recommendations. Each and every one, I think, all should come to Tartu, Southern Estonia, at least 3 times next year. Do you have any recommendations? I've got 3 as well. First of all, please bear in mind that Tartu 24 Cultural Capital is a once-in-a-lifetime event to all of us.
siin kultuuripealinna ette valmistades ja muidu ka on see, et inimesed, kes on mujalt riikidest, nad
people who come from other countries, they just fall in love with Tartu and Southern Estonia. So, can I ask all of you to bring your guests and friends to Tartu and Southern Estonia? It's wonderful. And the third thing that I think about, mental health, first aid. It's no secret. If a person knows where he or she belongs, he feels safe. So, welcome to Tartu, welcome to Southern Estonia. But we are going to stay here to finish up the preparations, yes. And please come to Tartu and Southern Estonia and look us up at www.tartu2024.ee. We've got a new, really cool homepage. And now, see you here, and we're going to hand over to Tallinn.
Many thanks, Erni Kask and Annela Laaneots. And now let's continue with our chat with Jalmar Vabarna first. The survival skills, and what about this icy dip? What do you think about that? Well, I appreciate it. I started in September. I accepted a challenge that I will swim or dip at least from September to September. So I live in Tartu, and in Emajõgi River I go and do it once a day. And as I'm in Tallinn today, I will go and try the sea out. And to feel healthy or healthier, well, there are many things you can observe in terms of your body's reaction. So it gives more clarity, I think, if during the day you take the time, because I do some sports and then I do the dip, and then I actually feel energized and things get done quicker. But let's talk about Tretski. What is it? Where is it? Well, I bought a farmhouse 10 years ago. I was studying in the university, and I bought the farm, and it didn't cost much. There was a barn on it, and I wanted to do something. And then it was quite popular to organize concerts in such venues and weddings. And then I saw there was a very nice barn house on the plot of land. And now years have passed, and the barn itself is not the main venue anymore. Now, instead of the house, so I don't have a house there, and instead of the house, I built a huge stage, and we can organize concerts, and you can see on the photos here. And we have a Tretski Fest. It's a festival, and throughout the summer we have events, concerts, and in August we have the Tretski Music and Inspirational Festival. And we also have a conference just before the festival. So if you happen to pick the Tretski Inspirational conference from the Tartu 2024 program, it's like a bit of a TEDx vibe there.
Ägedad eestlased, kes on kanda kinnitanud üle maailma, no näiteks Ragnar Klavan.
Taking the stage there. Ragnar Klavan, for example, who has played in one of the top football clubs coming from small town of Viljandi. And also Johan Orb, living in the States. He's one of the keynote speakers, and he is also now living in Ibiza. And it's a welfare conference, and it's a conference for brilliant ideas. And then this is followed by the music festival. And by the way, we have the ice showers there, and it's a must during the mornings. People use it. People go to sauna in the morning, then they jump into the pond, and then we have these ice baths. He's an instructor from Võru County, and this is me actually. And ice is not enough because I felt like I needed an ice cream on top of it because it was quite hot on that day. And there are many things going on during the festival. So it's 4 days in August altogether. And then obviously Seto County, Setomaa is worth exploring and experiencing. Anneli already spoke about being the spokesperson of the Seto god Pekko, and I plan to achieve this one day. And on the festival grounds we have a tent, the Setoland. It's like Disneyland. You can go there, do whatever you want. You can have some moonshine, you can sing, dance, the traditional things. So we also have an event devoted to the Seto song Lelo, which is also included in the UNESCO Intangible Heritage List. And there's a choir there from Setoland, and I hope that once and for all people will understand what it means to take a traditional song and make it contemporary, to show the process itself. It's fascinating because we have all these traditional folk songs and stories, and we can use them, and it's rich. So I always enjoy that. And what else we have is the underground experience. It's for the silage. It was used for preparing the silage back in the day. We have a nightclub there. And you can see the emotions here on the photos, I believe. So it's in the middle of the nature, and we had a family meeting. 22 countries, representatives from 22 countries came to visit, and we had a party, we had a celebration. Kuldar Leis is here on the picture, for example, the head of Tartu 2024. And we had some smoked meat, we had a proper party, we celebrated the Tartu 2024 as it is approaching. And there's one more slide saying thank you, but I will leave you with that in mind. Well, Seto heritage and your roots, these have influenced your music, obviously, and the bands that you are playing in. How are you doing music-wise and band-wise? Because I understand you have had tours across the world. You've met many Estonians abroad, probably. Yes, the bands are doing continuously good, even though after having children, perhaps the tours were not as frequent as before, because before that we spent some 160 days abroad. Now it's not as many days. But it's also because the level of quality of the festivals in Estonia compared to perhaps other countries we've visited is even better, much better, I would say. I'm not sure if Estonians lack confidence or belief in themselves, but Estonia is a very powerful country. As a musician, I would rather stay here in Estonia to enjoy the peak season. But obviously having a family, having children, tie you perhaps more with your roots and your home country. But there are many countries that would go straight away. Australia, Americas, Japan. So there are wonderful memories that we've obtained there. We make new music, of course. We just released a new record from Trad Attack. You can listen to us online, Apple Music, Spotify, etc. So we live in a world without borders. This is wonderful to hear, and I hope that many of those who follow us today find their way to Tretski in August next year, as I understand. Yes, in August, but also throughout the summer. So if you're planning a trip to Setomaa, you are more than welcome, and more than welcome to visit us as well. Thanks again, Jalmar Vabarna, and thank you for doing what you're doing. But now let's once again go to the States and talk to the author of Literally Estonian, Karel Polt.
Lülitume Los Angelesse, kus meil on hea meel vestelda raamatu Literally Estonian autoriga Karel Poltiga. Literally Estonian on siis selline huvitav keelemängudel põhinev raamat, mille Karel hiljuti välja raamatul on loonud ilusad illustratsioonid Kristjan Torp. Karel, räägi meile nüüd lühidalt mõne sõnaga,
say in a few words,
raamatuga on tegu ja kuidas
what
on
is this
selle
book
raamatul läinud?
And how has it been for the book? Yes, thank you. As you said, it's based on word play, and
And Estonian words are translated into English. For example, the Estonian word for vacuum cleaner, it's got a literal translation, dust sucker, and a bra is breast holder, etc. US, Australia, Singapore, Dubai, these are the countries that the book has been ordered to. In Estonia, you can buy it at the main chains Apollo and Rahva Raamat, but you can also get it at Fotografiska and at the Estonian National Museum. I understand that you got inspiration for this book from your grandmother in Otepää. In a way, yes. My mom is from Otepää, and my grandmother, who's 92, is still living there, and her Estonian is completely different from me. I grew up in Lasnamäe, in a prefab neighborhood of Tallinn. Estonia is really close to me. Estonian is really close to me because I've been living elsewhere for years. And I've had daily funny adventures with Estonian, with friends and my partner. For example, fridge. The literal translation of the Estonian word is cold closet. How many words in the book are there? I understand that it's mostly for children. There are quite many words. It's got 132 pages and about 400 words. Also sayings, proverbs, etc. It's not really for children. It's addressed more to people interested in language. It could be an Estonian who's interested in how Estonian works. Perhaps they haven't thought about how Estonian works. That what some Estonian words actually mean, literally. And there's, of course, the Estonian communities across the world in the US, Canada, New Zealand. Let's talk about South Estonia as well. You are from South Estonia. What's your link to Southern Estonia? How much do you communicate with Southern Estonia now? Actually, I'm from Lasnamäe. That's the second largest city in Estonia. It's actually a suburb of Tallinn. But both my parents are from Otepää. My grandmother is still living there. And all my school holidays I spent in Otepää, and I have a very close link to there. I speak to my grandmother very, very often, and I often come over to Estonia. I was in Estonia a month ago. I understand that you have a very successful career in Los Angeles in digital gaming, but you still keep an eye on what's going on in Estonia. Tartu is one of the European capitals of culture next year. What have you noticed in the program? What would you recommend? Great question. The program is absolutely huge. I had a look at 6 months of it, and there's loads to choose from. Personally, I'm more interested in nature. So if I were to come over, I'd go for winter tracks in the big bog of River Emajõgi, or the big cargo barge trip, full moon canoeing. Those would be my picks. Thanks very much, Karel Polt, for the recommendations. I hope your book is going to do great, and all the best to LA. Thanks very much.
Järgnevalt aga
But now we will talk to singer, songwriter and composer Mari Kalkun, who is also a culture ambassador for Tartu 2024. We pre-recorded the interview from in the midst of the forests in South Estonia in Võrumaa. Hello, Mari.
Tere, tere!
Hello, hello.
Ja aitäh, et sa lubad tuhandetel eestlastel kõigist maailma nurkadest virtuaalselt piiluda seda imeilusat Võrumaad.
The world have a big preview of
the rõõm on minupoolne. Siin on tõesti vapustavalt kaunis praegu.
Yes, it's a pleasure and it is fantastic.
No sinuga oleks juttu meil ajatava pikalt, aga kõige värskem uudis on see, et sul oli tore plaadiesitlus ja plaadi nimi on Estonia lood.
About your new LP's release, Stories of Estonia. So
jaa, täitsa õige. Estonia lood plaat ilmus tänavu suvel. Tuli välja Real World Recordsi poolt. Tuttud Briti plaadifirma. On viinud mind tõesti väga erinevatesse maailma otsustesse. Aga selle plaadi pealkiri tuleb muidugi Estoniast. Aga see Estonia märgib siin sellist müütilist maailma, mis on siis võrsunud Eesti pärimusest ja vanadest regilauludest.
Sa oled viimasel ajal väga palju maailmas oma muusikat tutvustanud ja see läheb inimestele hinge väga erinevatest paikadest Jaapanist kuni Kanadani välja.
To Canada. What inspires you? What inspires you in a way that your songs and stories touch people everywhere?
Ma arvan, et hästi suur inspiratsioon ongi tegelikult see sama loodus.
Source of inspiration is the nature that surrounds me here in South Estonia. All these little hills and lakes and this untouched nature, the silence that surrounds me here. It's very important for me as a songwriter. And also people, Võro language. And more and more I find myself finding inspiration in traditions, in ancient songs that go back thousands of years, and yet they talk to us today, here and now. Over the past couple of years, you've organized a festival in Võru, a fascinating festival. And as we have the European Capital of Culture in Tartu 2024, it would attract many Estonians from abroad. So can you perhaps already now say a few words about this festival? When, where, what's going on? Yes, definitely. It's worth visiting Võru. Võrumaa next summer, and the festival is called Aiguam. We have time, and it will be quite special because we are part of the regional program for the Tartu 2024, and together with the local community, the active community here in Võru County, we have people from various generations who are brilliant doing their own thing, and we have many events organized in the midst of forests, the nature, we have concerts, and the next year will also be very special because the focus of the festival is Estonia and Japan. I have links with Japan for years already, I could say, but this time we will have people coming from Japan, people who are keen on forest, musicians, and then together we try and look into how they interpret and relate to the forests. And we will have hikes and trips and workshops introducing our food and cuisine and culture. and we go to smoke sauna, and it's during the most hot summer day, the hottest summer days, 15th to 26th of June next year, and it's in quite contrast to what surrounds me today. All that and the connection through forest between Estonia and Japan on the background, having these frozen snowy trees, it sounded very attractive. So thank you and have a wonderful day back in South Estonia. Well, you are most welcome. See you.
Ja Marin Kalkuniga vestles.
And our Marin Mõttus was interviewing Mari Kalkun in South Estonia, and I also recommend you to listen to the new LP, Stories of Estonia. It's been well received also by critics abroad. But now the next video interview comes with Helen Toots, who is the author of the book My LA, and she's been living abroad for more than 14 years, and she also gives some recommendations as for the program of the Tartu 2024 next year.
Mina olen Helen.
My name is Helen, and I have lived abroad for some time. It will be 14 years now. And I've landed now in LA. So on the other side of the earth. And I wrote a book about what I do in LA, how people live in LA, and it's in part of the My series in Estonia. And my book tells a story about what people do in LA, what they think of life, and if you're interested, you are welcome to read. Generally speaking, I work in marketing. I've been abroad for a while now, and fortunately I have plenty of time, so I can visit every now and then. So it's not like I would forget Estonian language or forget some words or acquire an accent or nothing like that, thank God. But what connects me with South Estonia is that I was born in Tartu, and I have a small medallion that says that I was born in Tartu. I've heard that it was not given to everybody, but I have it anyway. And then, although I was raised in North Estonia, I spent all my summers in South Estonia at my granny's. And I always thought that in South Estonia we have these large hills. It's quite ironic, obviously, thinking about where I live now. But as I was 5 years old or 10 years old, it seemed to me that South Estonia was a mystical, hilly place, and the forests were magnificent as well. And I'm always drawn back to South Estonia, and every time I visit, I try to find some time to go to Tartu, go to visit my granny in the countryside. It's really close to my heart, and it offers me a lot of joy, and it makes me very happy that Tartu is the capital of culture, and the program of Tartu 2024 is really attractive. For example, what was interesting for me was the residency of film music in Kullaugu in the countryside, in a farmhouse. So there will be 5 composers there, and music will be created for 5 films. If I'm not mistaken, it starts in February and it ends in December. So they create music, and throughout the year they will have workshops. So it's not only the artists, the musicians, but I am a director also on TV and movie director I've been to. So I really appreciate that it takes place in South Estonia in a farmhouse where perhaps the environment supports the creativity. And what Aivar and Argo have done so far on the Estonian cultural landscape has been very cool indeed, and I'm really looking forward to see what will happen next year. And what you can also do is you can attend concerts where they will play the music that they create there in Põlva and in Tartu. So you can keep an eye out on what's happening, what's going on. It's worth visiting, certainly. And if you are interested in how various forms of arts or styles or creation is melted together, then you, I think, should go, because I want to do this. I want to visit Estonia during the summer to see and hear what the guys are doing there at Kullaugu farmhouse. So if you're interested, check it out on the website. Make sure the dates and go and visit.
Thanks very much, Helen Tootsi, for those tips. The Smoke Sauna Sisterhood director Anna Hints has made a name for the film and for herself this year. She won the World Cinema Documentary Directing Award at the Sundance Film Festival, and since then the film has been shown in dozens of countries worldwide, and it's also a candidate for foreign documentary Oscar. Anna is going to tell us more about it, even though well, technically it's about the smoke sauna. It's actually a much wider subject. So Anna is going to tell us what sort of feedback she's got from the film.
Lapsesta syntiti Sanna, pois syntiti Teremis Maija, aga tütar syntiti või. Kange lendas mööda õue laiali. Ta jooksis vikatiga mulle järele, niimoodi, nagu niidaks niimoodi vikatiga. Ja ma jooksin elu eest ära. Ja ometi ta väga armastas meid. Seda on ilusti kui heas. Ema poolt kõige parem tunnustus, mis me mõdadega saanud, on see, et oi, sa oled nii kõhnaks jäänud, et see on nagu kõige parem kiitus ükskõik millele. Põhiline oligi see, et mehed sind tahaksid, sest siis sa oled väärtuslik naine ja ainus hea asi minu keha puhul oli see, et mul olid ilusad tissid. Mul läks väga kaua aega, kui mina ilusaks hakkasin saama. Sul on kogu aeg olnud julgus joosta ära. Sul on olnud julgus teha teisiti. See on midagi, mida ma nii imetlen ja mida mina ei ole kunagi julgenud teha.
Mul on väga hea meel.
I'm delighted to talk here to Anna Hints, the director, whose Smoke Sauna Sisterhood has made a name for itself worldwide. It was at Sundance Film Festival, World Cinema Documentary category. Anna won the directing award there. And the European Parliament in Brussels is showing the film, and right now Anna is on her way to the European Film Academy Gala, where the film has become one of the nominees in the documentary category. You've traveled a lot. I think it's been shown in more than 15 countries. More. I actually counted over the last 8 weeks. I've been to 15 countries, twice across the Atlantic, just out of interest, I started to check. So there's many more countries than just 15.
Seda parem. Kas sul on tulnud üllatusena, et see film on nii palju vastukaja
leidnud? Has it been a surprise for you that the film has reverberated so strongly that there have been reviews in the world's top media channels? It's been shown across the world. Is it a surprise for you?
Ma arvan, et filmi tegijana on alati üllatus see, et kuidas su filmi vastu võetakse.
It's always a surprise to the filmmaker how your film will be received. I can't really imagine making a film thinking about an award. All that you can do is put your soul into it. It's actually quite a terrible profession because when you are making a film, you basically strip yourself, your soul naked, and you never know what the result is going to be, what the people are going to think about it. Some praise and some shout at you. I think the most important thing is not to think when you are in the creative process that you don't think about what others are going to think about it. You might fail. I never thought whether the film will fly, how the film will fly. Of course, it was a major surprise and a blessing also that Sundance took it. And I think Sundance Film Festival actually was a wave that started all of it, and that's carrying us. But what I'm not surprised at is what many have been surprised at, also including Estonians. How on earth this film that's been filmed in such a small place, how on earth that's become so popular? I've never, ever doubted that. I've always believed in the power of our roots. I've always believed that if we use our unique culture as a platform, we can create something unique for the world. So I'm not surprised at that. Actually, I'm lying. There was a time when I didn't value my roots as well. All that I could think about was getting away from Estonia, and I thought, all this business, ruining songs and sauna, bullshit. I was a teenager, everything outside Estonia seemed more intriguing. Perhaps it was also my mum. She was a Soviet time person. She was not able to travel freely. And actually, all the runic songs, the magic perception of the world, I actually realized it when I was living in the US at age 22, and I was together with Native Americans. We were in a sweating tent. I was there with Native Americans, and there was one of the Native Americans who was called a grandmother. She sang their traditional songs, and I sang our runic songs in return. And then it all of a sudden hit me that, oh my goodness, the Native American sweating tent, it's just like our smoke sauna. And now then I realized that I've got all that at home, that I don't need to go outside Estonia to look for roots. And that's when I all of a sudden felt the smoke sauna at cell level in my body. And ever since that moment, I've treasured the smoke sauna, our culture, our language. I speak to my daughter using the Võru dialect, so I'm not at all surprised at the feedback in the world. But I've seen and met many people who have been surprised. When we were making the film, there were many who said, oh, goodness me, it's just a small film. It's never going to end to do something big anywhere. oh yes, very nice. I'm really glad that I've proved them wrong. I'm really glad that we've showed that we need not to look elsewhere to define ourselves. On the contrary, we need to look into ourselves and then we can discover something that's truly special. It doesn't mean that we need to make culture that's strictly ethnographic. No, the film, The Smoke Sauna Sisterhood, it's a very modern film, which goes to show that when you use your roots as a platform, you can do modern things. So I'm not surprised about it, but I'm extremely grateful. Speaking about roots, the film has been shown worldwide. As I understand, local Estonians have come to the showings, to the screenings, and you've met them. What have their impressions been? I can imagine that on the one side they feel proud that something about an Estonian tradition, well, there's more to that, more to the film, of course. Something about an Estonian tradition is being shown across the states, for example, but on the other hand, it may create the feeling that you just described, that perhaps the feeling of those roots and perhaps makes people miss their roots. What's the feedback like? The feedback has been very, very warm. The interesting thing is that at all the screenings except Hong Kong, perhaps I didn't see the Estonian there, but at all the screenings, and there have been hundreds of them, well, definitely 100. At all the screenings worldwide, there's been at least one Estonian, and it's been a really, really warm meeting. Basically, I'm meeting somebody I've never met before, but we meet like, brothers and sisters. Last week, there was a screening in Germany, and a girl came up to me, we hugged, and she said it was just like meeting her grandmother. She said that her roots were in Southern Estonia and she misses her grandmother a lot. And another woman at that screening said, I'm actually from Saaremaa Island, but I remember how I used to go to the sauna with my grandmother. So there are many moments of recognition. I remember the community in Switzerland, for example. They said, oh, that is so cool that this is an Estonian film, that it's taken off like that. And they actually are very proud. Everywhere where I go, I sing this Aitüma, Aitüma, thank you song, the same thing that's in the film. And perhaps it's a kind of a therapy for the Estonian community, because very often we tend to have this inferiority complex. We think we are so small and we are looking for somebody from another country to say, oh, you are actually very good, etc. So I think it's really a coming together occasion for the Estonian community or the Estonians communities worldwide. We are such a small country, and it's an opportunity for people to see how our tiny language and culture reverberates in metropolises across the world. Another interesting thing is I've met at least 20 people who have told me that they've watched the film at least 6 times, not just 2 times, but 6 times. Those who watched it 2 times, there's many more of them. So that makes me think that it's not really just a film, it's like a real smoke sauna experience. The people who watch the film, they actually have an experience of the smoke sauna that they don't have in their real life. But it's something that they really miss, and it's a safe, warm space where everyone is welcome
on kuuldud ja nähtud, et selline lähedus ja selline avatus ja selline haavatavus on võimalik.
The closeness, the openness and the vulnerability, it's all possible there. And that's been a shock for people really, and it's been an eye-opener for people. And I think the reason why this touches people across the world, no matter what the ethnic background, what party people elect or what religion they belong to, it's basically, it boils down to the old-fashioned humanity, mankind. We all have the same need to be seen, to be heard. And all of a sudden you end up in this smoke sauna. It embraces you just like an ancient womb. And it reminds us that we are basically all the same. We are all part of the mankind. That it is possible to hear and to listen to each other, and that's something really special. And think about it, we've got the space in our culture. Thank you so much, Anna Hints, for those wonderful words. I do hope that as many people as possible watch the Smoke Sauna Sisterhood across the world. Thank you very much.
Indeed, we wish all the success to Anna Hintz and the Smoke Sauna Sisterhood, and let's hope that we'll see them at the Oscar finals. And now let me remind you that the prize wheel is also available for those who watch us later. We will spin the wheel on the 15th of December at noon Estonian time. So you can enter your details and take part. But until then, let's keep an eye on each other's activities through the Global Estonian website, and we have a newsletter as well. It's published in Estonian and in English, so you can have it in your mailboxes if you want. But now let's sum up. We wish you
kaunist jõuluaega
wonderful
ja
Christmas
tõesti ka
time
väga meeleolukat ja turvalist ja rahulikku
and a peaceful
aastavahetust.
and safe and
Järgmine
merry
virtuaalfoorum
end
toimub
of
järgmise
year.
aasta
The
kevadel.
next virtual forum
Meie
will
tänast
take
foorumit
place
jääb
in spring
lõpetama
next year.
ansambel Duo Ruut looga Kuuse
Today's
koht. Kõike head
forum
teile, aitäh!
will be complete with a performance by Duo Ruut. Thank you.
suuri kuuske langes maha laia